Hello everybody, what is up? Cobra here with another painted review. Now, this is going to be a two-part video, so if you want to see the British Desert Forces that I've put in the title, then go down to the description box and there'll be a timestamp that you can click on and just skip to that part if you don't want to see the US Navy. But I highly advise you stick around to see that too. So, as I mentioned, we are looking at the US Navy and a couple of little British desert units that I painted up. So first up, we're going to start with the main event, which is the US Navy. So, these are again from that unboxing I did a while ago of 3D printed pieces from Historical Board Gaming. So here you can see we got the Montana class heavy battleship. This was a kind of experimental battleship that was built by the Americans, or planned by the Americans. So you can see a top-down view. I've done a pretty decent job painting this up. I went with a simple, my simple American camouflage or not really camouflage, but scheme where you've got the light gray with the lighter brown deck color. And I got a decent amount of detail in this thing with all the little secondary guns, which you can see, little things spewed about the deck and the lifeboats on the sides. So a very nice looking ship. So next up we're just going to go through the battleships I got. So we've got some starting game battleships. Now this is the Idaho. I really like this thing. And these are basically the battleships that'll be starting the game as with America to replace the Iowa class battleships that come out of box for Global War. So you can see with this thing, I went with this really cool darker scheme that was a late war camouflage for this ship. So you can see it's got this black deck, gray sides, very nice. And then just to bring out some of the detail, you can see around the edges that I basically dry brushed on some white, and that helped give it some nice looking detail without giving it a wash, because that really wouldn't show up against the black. So, and then a little look at the front deck. A very nice looking battleship. Next up we have the Wyoming class. This is another very cool looking ship. I really like this thing in real life. It's a kind of strange looking design compared to other American battleship types. So you can see for the camouflage we went with this kind of USN light gray, dark blue color scheme. You can see this thing's got a ton of guns on it. I think it's, 6 guns, or 6 turrets total, with a total of 12 guns. And then you can see all the little anti-aircraft guns, a really big mound of secondaries and anti-aircraft guns built up around the main deck. And yeah, a very nice looking ship. So that is the Wyoming class. And then lastly, for US battleships, we have the Tennessee. It's probably one of my favorites just because of the ship itself and also the color scheme I used. Again, this is kind of a mid-war color scheme with the white and dark blue. And like I said, I also just like the ship design of this thing. It's just a really nice, big, wide ship. I really like the huge, just the big old tower or mountain of condensed anti-aircraft guns and secondary armament. And then from the top down, you can see that I like all the little individual barrels which you can make out with these 3D prints. I decided to leave off a larger tip just because I liked to see those smaller details there on the front deck, all the little anchor chains, and then a little aircraft catapult on the rear. So another very nice looking battleship, and that is my American battleships. Next up we've got the Battle Cruiser. Now this is just a Baltimore class heavy cruiser, but I have decided to just use them as my battle cruisers just to give them, or the Americans, a more nicer looking designated battle cruiser unit. Now I may end up just counting these as cruisers. I might just give them the yellow tip just because I like them so much. I want to be able to see them, and America doesn't build a lot of battle cruisers. But otherwise, it's a very nice looking sculpt. Now this is plastic, so you're not going to see as much detail as with the 3D prints, but this definitely goes to show that you can make plastic pieces look very, very nice. So let's see if we can get a little bit better view. There we go. So you can see on the guns, we've got the dark tops to them. The black represents the little gun sheath, basically like where the guns can oscillate up and down. And then you can see it from top down. We got dark gray to represent all the little anti-aircraft batteries. And on the back here, we've got a little catapult launching bay with a little tarp on the back. So a very nice looking cruiser / battle cruiser sculpt, and I've got 5 of those now. And then lastly, for the American ships, we've got the light cruiser. So this thing is the Omaha class, and I really like, these are probably my favorite overall out of all the American ships I got. Not only do I like the ship itself, it's kind of a strange looking design, but also just the paint schemes that I did. I spent a decent amount of time doing up these ones. So I've got a couple of different camouflage schemes. So this one's like kind of splinter camo, but you can see we've got all the gun batteries in the front of the ship. The kind of switching where you've got a dark gray deck, a wooden deck, dark gray, wooden, dark gray. You can see that we've got all the little lifeboats represented on the back there, plus the 2 little catapult aircraft launching bays. Now it may look a little blotchy right there, but when you see it out here, it looks like it's got a little aircraft ready to launch off the back of the ship. And so, like, looking at this one is a different camouflage scheme that I used, still with the dark blue, but not sure what to call this one, but it's kind of rising up from the water line, probably to kind of make it look like it's sitting a little lower. But again, it's got the little aircraft on the front. I think I've got one here that's just got a standard no camo design. Let's see if we can get to focus. There we go. And it's got 2 aircraft on the back. So another nice looking ship. And again, I've got 5 of those now, so we've got a nice USN light cruiser force, and overall a nice big addition to the United States Navy to add some cooler looking units. So now getting into the desert rats. Now I call them desert rats because that was what they were referred to, where Rommel and his Afrika Korps were the desert fox and his foxes, whereas the British were the rats. So first up, we've got the armored cars. So this one here, I'm not sure the actual model of it, but it is an armored car that I got. I got a couple of pieces, basically all of these except for my Rolls-Royce armored car I got in a prize. So I just decided to paint them up just as a little one-off. So I've always wanted to attempt the British Africa, like the Africa camouflage scheme, where you can see you got this light tan with the 2-tone blue colors. So you can see it shows up really nice on this armored car with the little machine gun and everything, and then also just a roundel on the top of the thing. But a nice looking little unit. Cool little compact design too. And then I had some leftover Rolls-Royce armored cars from my World War I game, and I always wanted to have one of them in my World War II game just because Britain did use them, and it was a pretty special, car because of the fact that it was so old at the time. But you can see we got it painted up in the cool looking Africa camouflage scheme. And then for the last couple ground units, we've just got some, I think these are Grants, not the Lees, because the Lees had the turret on top, but basically the British version of the M3 Lee. So I really, ever since I got these in a prize, I really wanted to paint them up for the British, basically, as like Lend-Lease tanks or as North African tanks. And now I can finally say that I have some. So this is probably one of my favorite medium tanks of the war, and this color scheme on it really makes it look pretty good. So yeah, and I ended up painting up 2 of these pretty similarly, but yeah. And then lastly, we've got the British Air Force of North Africa. So these have a kind of swanky color scheme, being this really light pink here, but this was actually used by the British mostly on Spitfires, and it was mainly used for scouting, or the planes that it was applied to were used for scouting rules because it was very hard to make out pink in a desert environment, you know, with the glare of the sun and everything. So you can see we got some little stripes on the back of the thing, lots of little roundels and everything, and I did the little detailed cockpit so that it looks a bit better. And yeah, so that is the Spitfire, and I painted up 2 of those, plus a tactical bomber. Oh, sorry. And these are some of my Pico armor pieces, and let's get that to focus. Let's see. There we go. So, yeah, this is I think it's a Barracuda, I'm pretty sure, but a very nice looking piece. I like this sculpt in general. It's a metal unit, and it's got a little tail gun at the rear and everything. You can see the stripes a little bit better on the tail of the thing. Yeah, very nice looking piece. And of course they are magnetized so they could sit off the carriers in the North African theater. So, I hope you all enjoyed this quick little painted review as I've been slowly working through some of my some of my units and repaintings or adding new painted units, and making my game look a bit better because during the summer I hope to have another game. So again, hope you all enjoyed, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, and if you're not, consider liking the video and commenting down below on what you would like to see painted next. Cobra, out.